I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. All right, definitely appreciate Cassandra, Dr. Latrice, and Chairman Fred Jr. For joining us. A couple other things that I did want to get to that are oddly, connected to where we started, at least with Patrice O'Neill and this issue of missing women. And then if you all want, I got some time. If we have time, there's something that I'd also kind of like to get to and have some fun watching. That's a little bit. Anyway, let's see what's what here. But the first of it is that there was a story that came out. I had missed this initially. That a couple of weeks ago, but I caught it on the sort of back end here. A couple of weeks ago, a story came out in the Wall Street Journal, which, let's see, I got clipped right here. Titled, the story came out earlier in this month, about a week ago, 10 days ago. The Facebook files. Facebook knows Instagram is toxic for teen girls. Its research shows. Internal documents show a youth mental issue that Facebook plays down in public. And yeah, it's wild. So just a few things from the story here. Their own internal findings that the Wall Street Journal got, I don't know, released to them or got a chance to view. That Facebook is definitely not hoping it gets. Well, apparently doesn't want too much attention, even if they let Wall Street Journal. I'm not entirely sure how they got it, but anyway, the point is their findings confirm some serious problems. 32% of teen girls said when they felt bad about their bodies, Instagram made them feel worse. The researchers said in a March 2020 slide presentation posted on Facebook's internal message board reviewed by the Wall Street Journal, comparisons on Instagram can change how young women view and describe themselves. Teens blame Instagram for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression, said another slide. This reaction was unprompted and consistent across all groups. Among teens who reported suicidal thoughts, 13% of British users and 6% of American users traced the desire to kill themselves to Instagram, one presentation showed. Expanding its base of young users is vital to the company's more than $100 billion in annual revenue, and it doesn't want to jeopardize their engagement with the platform. More than 40% of Instagram users are 22 years old and younger, and about 22 million teens log into Instagram in the US each day, compared with 5 million teens logging onto Facebook, where young users have been shrinking for a decade, the materials show. Going a little farther here, the research that we've seen is that using social apps to connect with other people can have positive mental health effects, CEO Mark Zuckerberg said at a congressional hearing in March 2021 when asked about children and mental health. So of course, that would be his line, certainly publicly, and to his investors. They offer the Instagram documents form part of a trove of internal communications reviewed by the journal on areas including teen mental health, political discourse, and human trafficking. They offer an unparalleled picture of how Facebook is acutely aware that the products and systems central to its business success routinely fail. The documents also show that Facebook has made minimal efforts to address these issues and plays them down in public. The company's research on Instagram, the deepest look yet at what the tech giant knows about its impact on teens and their mental well-being, represents one of the clearest gaps revealed in the documents between Facebook's understanding of itself and its public position. In 5 presentations over 18 months to this spring, the researchers conducted what they call teen mental health deep dive and follow-up studies. They came to the conclusion that some of the problems were specific to Instagram and not social media more broadly. The social comparison is worse on Instagram, states Facebook's deep dive into teen girl body image issues in 2020, noting that TikTok, a short video app, is grounded in performance, while users on Snapchat, a rival photo and video sharing app, are sheltered by jokey filters that keep the focus on the face. In contrast, Instagram focuses heavily on the body and lifestyle. That's interesting. Facebook told senators that its internal research is proprietary and kept confidential to promote frank and open dialogue and brainstorming internally. I thought that was an interesting rephrasing of why they keep things private. A little bit more here. When Facebook, when told of Facebook's internal research, Jean Twenge, a professor of psychology at San Diego State University who has published research finding that social media is harmful for kids, for some kids, said it was a potential turning point in the discussion about how social media affects teens. If you believe that R.J. Reynolds, the former tobacco company, or formerly named, I think they rebranded, or anyway, should have been more truthful about the link between smoking and lung cancer, then you should probably believe that Facebook should be more upfront about the links to depression among teen girls. I thought that was an interesting comparison. The company would come to see Instagram as Facebook's best bet for growth among teens. That is Facebook, that is. Before long, Instagram became an online equivalent of the high school cafeteria, a place for teens to post their best photos, find friends, size each other up, brag, and bully. I thought that was interesting as well, the new cafeteria.
Wow.
In a little bit more here, in one study of teens in US and UK, Facebook found that more than 40% of Instagram users who reported feeling unattractive said the feeling began on the app. About a quarter of the teens who reported feeling not good enough said the feeling started on Instagram. Many also said the app undermined their confidence in the strength of their friendship. Instagram's researchers noted that those struggling with the platform's psychological effects were necessarily logging off. Teens regularly weren't necessarily logging off. Teens regularly reported wanting to spend less time on Instagram, the presentations note, but lacked the self-control to do so. Teens told us that they don't like the amount of time they spend on the app, but they feel they have to be present. An Instagram research manager explained to colleagues, according to the documents, they often feel addicted and know that what they're seeing is bad for their mental health, but feel unable to stop themselves. We're leaning towards calling it an obsession. Miss Ramos and her friend Isabel Yablonsky, 18, believed this posed a potential health problem to their community, so they decided to survey their peers as part of a national science competition. They found that of the 98 students who responded, nearly 90% said social media negatively affected their mental health. In focus groups, Instagram employees heard directly from teens who were struggling. I felt like I had to fight to be considered pretty or even visible, one teen said of her Instagram or her experience on Instagram. For some people, it might be tempting to dismiss this as teen girls being sad, said Dr. Twing. But we're looking at clinical level depression that requires treatment. We're talking about self-harm that lands people in the ER. Another person here saying, a 17-year-old, every time I feel good about myself, I go over to Instagram and it all goes away, she said. Students referred to the number of followers their peers had as if the number was stamped on their foreheads, she said. Director Angela Guarda, director of eating disorders program at Johns Hopkins, said it is common for her patients to say they learned from social media tips for how to restrict food intake and purge. Plus, we're standing directly between people and their bonuses, one former researcher said, instead of referencing their own data showing the negative effects of Instagram. Facebook executives in public have often pointed to studies from Oxford Internet Institute that have shown little correlation between social media and depression. Of course, Facebook is a donor or was a donor at one point to that institute, which may have an impact there. And then teens told Facebook in focus groups that like counts caused them anxiety and contributed to negative feelings. All right, so just lastly here, in March, the researchers said Instagram should reduce exposure to celebrity content about fashion, beauty, and relationships while increasing exposure to content from close friends, according to a slide deck they uploaded to Facebook's internal message board. A current employee in comments on the message board questioned that idea, saying celebrities with perfect lives were key to the app. Isn't that what IG is mostly about, he wrote? Getting a peek at the very photogenic life of the top 0.1%, isn't that the real reason why teens are on the platform? A now former executive questioned the idea of overhauling Instagram to avoid social comparison. People use Instagram because it is a competition, the former executive said. That's the fun part. To promote more positive use of Instagram, the company has partnered with nonprofits to promote what it calls emotional resilience. According to the documents, Facebook researchers identified the over-sexualization of girls as something that weighs on the mental health of the app's users. Siobhan Jones, a licensed clinical social worker based in Atlanta, says this can affect Black girls, especially because they often assume Black girls are older than they are and critique the bodies of Black girls more frequently. That was interesting as a response a few years ago to an incident I described with one of my daughters at her school. A colleague of mine suggested, based on his psychological work, that this was part of the problem. That teachers see Black and at times brown girls as well as being older than they actually are, and then are quicker to have a reaction to them based on their reaction to older Black and brown women, which is often negative. Or over sexualized. Yeah, go ahead.
I would even say with a lot of Black boys as well, because
probably
my son is 11, and basically, I mean, he's tall for his height and everything, and he's high functioning. He's autistic, but high functioning, right? So folks automatically assume like, well, why is he doing that? And you know what I'm saying? And I literally had to almost fuck some folks up, part of my English, because of the fact that, you know, getting so disrespectful, not knowing what the situation was, you know, just like, oh, you need to beat him. First of all, you need to beat you. How about that? You know what I'm saying? But I'm so, you know, this saddens me in so many ways. First of all, I'm so happy that that we didn't have this growing up. Social media is like a serious you know, it's like a tool of war right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, first of all, like Facebook and all that, it's like psychological warfare, psychological profiles being taken. And it's sad because of the fact that from listening to you about this particular report, we're talking about teens, but I know so many adults that are affected by this as well. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that the American standard of beauty says that you have to be a certain way. You have to be skinny. You have to have a certain type of, you know what I'm saying? Your hair has to be a certain way. You have to move a certain way, so on and so forth. So this exasperates it as far as like IG and all that, because of the fact that now you're thinking that, you know, oh, I'm too fat, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. And it plays a role on your psyche, and it carries out in the real world. So many relationships have been absolutely, totally destroyed because of the fact that, you know, psychologically, this is, I mean, this propaganda right here, you know, it's another level where you actually participate in your own demise. You participate in the propaganda. You know what I mean? So we have to find a way. I would suggest for parents who have children who have not yet ventured into the social media world, man, don't even do it.
We haven't even given our children are in their teens. We haven't even let them have phones yet or any of that. And they are in some level, you know, like they're not. That is a stark difference from what they see happening among their peers. And but this is one of the reasons why. I mean, and there's actually a little more here because one of the things that I wanted to show that this is the environment that you talk about. We're glad we didn't have this, but the reason that I know about this story from the Wall Street Journal a couple days ago is because I follow Advertising Age, just as somebody interested in the marketing and PR world. And this is how I found out. And I found out because of the story that came out yesterday, that Instagram, in response to that story that we heard the other day, is already starting a new brand campaign targeting young teenage girls to have them take back their identity. So let me just show you just a little bit here. So this is well, that's the headline. Instagram's new brand campaign says your identity is yours to make. In its first big push from Johannes Leonardo, which sounds like a name of a person, but this is an advertising agency based in New York City, owned by a larger international media conglomerate. So that was something I had to look up because I was like, "Who's Johannes Leonardo?" And it was like,
that's serious, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Like there's levels to this stuff, right? So that's
man, your Highness is the big dude in town, huh? Your Highness Leonardo. Sound like some some Aryan sex symbol.
Or right, like
Your
that's
Highness Leonardo.
that's the hot new European, influencer or whatever. And in fact, that's what they are, is a European
Highness Vandersnoot. Right. Yeah.
So it says here, stay true to yourself. Don't worry about what other people are thinking. A young woman delivers these lines. I'm going to show you the ad here in just a second. In fact, we should just look at this because this is what's being targeted at I think I already had the sound set up. You should hear that, right?
Yeah.
This is what's being targeted at young folks.
It's so fun. Necklace.
Oh, stop playing. Really?
Yeah. It's so fun. Necklace.
Yeah.
Wow. I hate it already.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's like.
Seconds.
It's like 90 seconds of that. It's like 90 seconds of just flashy, well produced. And I think I just lost my notes by refreshing. I had some notes on the page, but let's try one more time.
Yeah, it's so fun. Necklaces or rings? Chunky rings are very in right now. That's why I asked that, because I'm messing with my rings right now.
What was your inspiration for this outfit?
Picking out my outfit is what gets me out of bed. Yeah.
What's one thing that you would tell,
among the many things slick about this is that we're not supposed to see this as adults and their parents. Like this is targeting on Instagram towards children and young folks.
It's very, I feel like that's you.
Like no
looks
matter
like
how
some serious
stressed it is,
AI.
no matter how upset, it will always work out.
hidden talents?
I don't know. I'm really good at harmonizing with like garbage disposals and stuff like that. Yeah. Like if you put any kind of mechanical machinery in front of me,
this should be illegal.
That's a hidden talent.
It really should be. And in fact,
I kind of like fell into paper mache.
In fact, in other countries, and in fact, in parts, if I'm not mistaken, in England, they have laws much stricter than we have in the United States that prevent what is supposed to be advertising towards young people.
This is crazy, man. This is like just when you thought it can get no worse.
So this is, but again, this is so Facebook does a study of its own product, Instagram.
But I would like to be doing something where I
realizes it's hurting teens, and then instead of addressing that fact, they just come up with a promotional campaign to
get slicker.
My notes did save. So according to the Wall Street Journal's investigation, it's something we already saw. 32% of teen girls said that they felt bad about their bodies. Instagram made them feel worse. Facebook did not make an executive available to discuss whether or not the new messaging was created in reaction to the data. So they're saying they didn't make it. They're not acknowledging that what we just saw is in reaction. Rather, a spokesperson referred Ad Age to a blog posting. A post addressing that story written by Karina Newton, Instagram head of public policy. So instead of saying, whether this was a response to that story, which it clearly was, they just say, go speak to our PR rep. The company asserted that the journal's report focuses on a limited set of findings and casts them in a negative light, yet Facebook stands by its research. It demonstrates our commitment to understanding complex and difficult issues young people may struggle with and informs all the work we do to help those experiencing these issues, Newton wrote. The new campaign underscores the positive, highlighting the freedom and agency Instagram affords its young users to express and find themselves. When it tapped Johannes Leonardo, the brand noted it would be, again, they make it seem like Johannes is a dude or a person. Or
yeah.
The brand noted it would be working in close collaboration with the agency in an effort to connect. So they do. I mean, I guess you got it. Okay. To connect directly with culture and help push it forward by elevating the communities and creators that are making it happen. So anyway, that's that. So anyway, I just wanted to, to show that much that the study comes out from within their own documents that are apparently not meant to be known publicly, at least not widely. And then instead of addressing it, Instagram unleashes with Facebook through Instagram leashes this PR campaign targeting teens. Anyway, so that's why anyway, that's why so many things. But oh, and one other thing, just to the point that you did make, that I did want to I did actually want to show, because in my class this semester we are using that's not the right one. We are using the Yasha Levine book, Surveillance Valley. And in reviewing that for just quickly for today, I'm reminded of a number of things like this here. Facebook too is cozy with the military, as are all these social media. It poached former DARPA head Regina Dugan to run its secretive Building 8 research division, which is involved in everything from artificial intelligence to drone-based wireless internet networks. Facebook is betting big on virtual reality as the user interface of the future, and the Pentagon is too. According to reports, Facebook's Oculus virtual reality headset has already been integrated into DARPA's Plan X, a $110 million project to build an immersive, fully virtual reality environment to fight cyber wars. So, and obviously there's more to that, but just as a quick example, I mean, there is this entire, matrix.
So, I mean, eventually we'll be able to connect the dots, and we'll see these trips that homeboy from Tesla was taking. Just this whole it's all gonna connect one day, Jay. We're gonna be sitting back like, yo, remember such and such. This is like, it's like surreal, man. And meanwhile, just like a sci-fi movie, folks in Cook County are being abused, tortured, denied medical treatment. We're not even just in Cook County, just in prisons and jails across the country. I'm not even going to say across the world, because of the fact that we know that 25% of the prison population exists here in the United States. So, with all of this madness going on, so I'm waiting to see how that plays in, because of the fact that I can see them doing some type of virtual reality, prison Hunger Game type thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like any day now, if it's not happening already, the slave reenactment, so on and so forth. So,
absolutely. So we encourage people, because I know that those who are seeing this live, we appreciate you, and this is wonderful. And those who are members to the channel will get to see this live in its entirety after the fact. Those who are not members, we appreciate you too. You will get these in clips, or are seeing these in clips later. So please go back and see the other interview that Kalanji's just now talking about with Chairman Fred and Cassandra Greer Lee and Dr. Latrice about what's going on in Cook County Jail, because it's beyond crazy. But if we can, one more quick transition and come back. We got a couple other stories that we wanted to wrap up with here this morning as Kalanji and I hold it down until the full remix crew reconvenes next week.
You know what we do around here?
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. What I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.